What's up, guys? It's Brian here. So as many of you guys know, my favorite character in all of Star Wars is actually Luke Skywalker. And so what I thought I would do, as a fun little video, I've been wanting to do this for a little while, is to show you guys my Lego Luke Skywalker collection. He's actually the minifigure that I have the most variants of, so I think this is going to be a pretty neat little video. I love seeing all my little Lukes here in one row. So let's go take a closer look at some of the Luke Skywalker minifigures I've collected over the years. So first, let me give you a nice little swoop of all of my my Luke, starting off with the New Hope variants of Luke, as well as the pilot versions, the one Celebration Luke I've got, the two Empire Strikes Back, all the way over to Return of the Jedi, and then the sequel trilogy Old Man Luke minifigures that I've got. 15 variants in total. We're going to take a close-up look at each one of these. Spend a few seconds talking about them, because I think that these are all pretty cool. I love seeing all these guys in a row like this. So let's take a look at these Luke minifigures. So starting off with the New Hope versions of Luke, this one is from the Luke's Landspeeder set from 2018. He's got some nice, he's got the main change that they made with this one, which is actually the same one from the, what do you call it, the Sandcrawler, was that his legs are now white instead of tan, which I'll show you the tan one in just a minute. But this is one of the newest versions of a New Hope version of Luke. He's got his blonde hair with a double-sided face. One of them's a little more concerned than the other. But this is a very good version of this New Hope version of Luke. And going back in time a little bit, this one is actually from the 2011 Millennium Falcon. He's got the tan legs instead of the white, with no printing on his back whatsoever. And his default face is kind of an angrier face, and he has a blaster because it's like the scene when Darth Vader kills Obi-Wan, and so he's shooting him away. But this one also has a special double-sided face, because he actually has the blast shield down, and the Millennium Falcon came with a plain old helmet, so that he could be training with the blast shield and the little droid over here that came in the original Millennium Falcon, in that 2011 Millennium Falcon set. So this is a very cool version of Luke because it's the only version that has that blast shield printed on his face. And going even further back, we have the original Tatooine Luke with that iconic style printing, that very classic face, which could be literally anybody else's face before they really specified prints. No back print. He's got a crack there because this is a really old figure. This figure came in the 2004 Cantina set that I have. This was one of the first variants of A New Hope Luke. Now, you may not think I changed the figure at all, but this was the updated version of that figure that I dislike passionately because they added back printing. They reprinted this old version of the figure for the Visual Dictionary from 2014, and I really don't like this figure at all because they updated the prints. But if they had just done a straight-up reprint, it would have been a lot better. But this one had to include him in the collection because he is a Luke Skywalker, so even though I don't like him very much, there he is. Next up is the newest version of Pilot Luke with that extremely clunky-looking helmet. This amazing print, though, he has here. He's got the same face printing as the first Luke I showed with the back printing. This helmet is really well designed, and it's well executed with the dual molding and everything, but when you put it on a figure, it just looks so darn clunky. I like it. It's got a little bit of a charm to it, but it's just way too big for him. Otherwise, this is the most updated version of Pilot Luke I have. Going back in time just a little bit, this is the version that came with the 2006 X-Wing, with his completely blank torso and legs. No back printing whatsoever, no alternate face, but this is the first flesh tone Luke we ever got with that classic Luke helmet print, and that's pretty much all there is to him. And then one step further back, this was from the 2004 Snowspeeder set, with, again, that plain old classic Luke face. Same helmet print, same torso print, he just has a chrome lightsaber that came with this set. And this is one of the more interesting Lukes I have in my collection. This is the only version they ever made of Celebration Luke, which came in the original Star Wars Visual Dictionary. He's got that weird long hair that does not fit the character at all. I think it actually would have been a lot better if they had this hair on him. Looks a lot better. But regardless, this is the hair that we got. And he's got the yellow torso with the Han Solo legs and the metal on him. Nothing on the back. No back facial print. But this is a cool figure. It's very rare. It's very expensive nowadays. But I'm glad I have him in my collection. So now we're into Empire Strikes Back, and this is the newest version of Dagobah Luke, which is, there's only 2 versions of Dagobah Luke, but this is the first year they started using the dark tan of this color hairpiece instead of blonde, which I think works a lot better for the character, even in his A New Hope version. I like the dark hair better, but he's got that great torso and legs, and even the back print's really good, and he also has an alternate facial expression in which he's using the Force to attempt to either stand on his head or lift up the X-Wing from the water. This came in the Yoda's Hut set from 2018, I want to say? 17 or 18, I forget. I can't believe I'm forgetting these things, my goodness. But this is the version of Dagobah Luke. I've wanted this version for so long before it came out, an updated version of Dagobah Luke, and I'm so glad that we have gotten this one. And the exact thing could be said about the Bespin Luke Skywalker. I've wanted an updated version of Bespin Luke for forever, because that version from the original Cloud City set is so expensive. This guy came in the newer Cloud City set from 2017 or 18. I don't have the set. I bought this figure separately. He was like, I don't even know how much he was. He was expensive. He might have been like 17 bucks, but I really, really wanted this figure. And he's got an amazing alternate face of his expression when Darth Vader gives him the "I am your father" line with the black eye up there, and he's so cool. The prints are so great on this figure. He is one of my favorites in this collection just because of how rare he is. So now we're getting into Return of the Jedi, and we're actually starting with a really, really old figure. I threw this figure into a Bricklink order not too long ago because he was pretty cheap, and I like collecting Luke Skywalkers. This is the original version of Endor Luke. He has nothing on his back, no back facial print or anything like that. And I just learned, I was looking up stuff for this video before I started. This figure, I did not realize, came out in 1999. This is the first version ever of Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker that they ever created. And I'm just so happy that I have one of the 1999 figures, because this is a really cool one. And I'm happy to have him in my collection. Another one of my favorites in my collection is Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker with his lightsaber from the Ewok village with a little flap hanging down that you see at the end of Return of the Jedi. This guy, I mean, I love Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi anyway, with his green lightsaber and his black outfit. This is up there as far as figures on this collection that are my favorite, because he's so cool. He's got the back print, he's got that the dark tan hair, he has 2 facial expressions. One of them is a little angrier. I don't have the version where his chest is actually fixed. I should get that version, because I keep looking at him on Bricklink whenever I'm making an order. He's kind of an expensive figure. He can vary between like $6 and $10. But this guy, I obviously have the Ewok Village, and this is just such a great figure. I love this guy. And going a little back in time, the figure I always cite to be my favorite LEGO Star Wars figure is this 2006 variant of Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. This guy came in the Jabba's Sail Barge of 2006. He's got no back printing, no alternate facial expression. He's got the chrome lightsaber hilt with the green, and I'm torn between this guy and the Ewok Village one for my favorite variant of Luke, but this guy is so cool. He's just so nostalgic to me. It was the first version of Jedi Master Luke I'd ever gotten, and yeah, there's nothing much to him. He's just simple. He's nostalgic to me. He came out at this point, 14 years ago? And he's just super cool. And now we're in the sequel trilogy. This was the most highly anticipated minifigure for me, probably of all time. Ever since we saw Luke Skywalker in The Force Awakens, and even since we got that leaked picture of Mark Hamill, I could not wait for an old man Luke figure, and this is him in his Jedi robes, looking as cool as ever, even though he was very depressed while he was wearing these. He does have that soft cape material with some back torso printing. The torso prints on this guy are amazing into the legs. They did a great job with this figure, and he does have that alternate face where he's a little angrier. This was a new hair mold for him, which I didn't like when it first was revealed, but it grew on me significantly because it looks a lot better. It's actually unique to this figure when they made it, so it's not like a recycled hairpiece. And he's got his, I'm covering it up, but his gray hand for the robot hand, because he didn't really have his glove on in the scene, but this is a good old Jedi Master Luke. And the very last figure in this collection is the newest in my collection, actually, and it's Octu Hermit Luke. And I did add a cape to him and this little staff, because in the advent calendar, he just comes without his cape, but he's got some incredible torso print going into the legs. I don't think this figure looks good without a cape, so that's why I threw a cape on him. He has the same face and the same hair as the previous Luke that I just showed. If I can flip his cape up real quick and see if we can see that back print on there. You can see it a little bit. Nothing too special. But this is the version from The Last Jedi, obviously. I hope that someday we get the version of Luke from the end of The Last Jedi. I'm optimistic that we will eventually, because I really, really want that figure. But this one is the last that we have for now. So there you have it, guys. That is my collection of all of my Luke Skywalker minifigures. My favorite character in Star Wars, he pretty much always has been. And I'm glad I have this many variants of the character. I'm glad LEGO's made this many variants. There's still tons of variants I don't have. But I've pretty much covered a lot of ground with all of this. Maybe someday I'll get the really old versions of these two to add to my collection, but they're way too expensive for me to ever consider buying myself. So we'll see about that. But I am just glad to have this many. I'm glad LEGO's come out with this many. There's still a bunch that I want. Like, I guess the main one I really want is the one from the end of The Last Jedi, where he's the Force projection. That'd be a cool version to get. But anyway, that's going to just about do it for this collection video, guys. This video was a little longer than I expected, but thank you so much for watching. Leave a big thumbs up if you enjoyed. Leave me a comment down below. And be sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. I have a couple more collection videos coming, not of minifigures, but you can kind of see the sets back here. I'm going to show off a few other sets from various collections I like. So stick around. Got some cool new videos coming your way very soon. Leave me a comment down below. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks, guys, for watching. This has been Brian from Watermelon Studios. Peace out, guys.